Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. So our today's topic of discussion is intestinal volvulus and torsion. So this condition is less common in small animals and dogs and cats, but this is also very just like GDV. This is also a very emergency condition, and if it is not properly treated or if it is not timely tackled, so it may lead to death of the animal. So intestinal volvulus and torsion mean there is a twisting or torsion formation of the intestine. So usually because of the less mesenteric attachment in small animals, so the chances of the rotation of the intestine that is less. But if it is happen to take place, and usually it involves the jejunum. So the jejunal part of the intestine that is more commonly affected, like the intussusception, the jejunum that is more commonly affected, and same with the volvulus formation or torsion formation. So volvulus usually takes place like the GTV, like the uh, gastric torsion. So the rotation, the direction of the rotation is the mesenteric axis. So that's why this is also called mesenteric torsion or mesenteric twisting. Say if it is a small intestine and it has two borders, this is the plain border or non-mesenteric border, and this border which is having the mesentery. So usually the direction of the rotation is towards from non-mesenteric borders towards the mesenteric border. So that's why this condition is also called mesenteric twisting or mesenteric torsion as well in small animals. So the consequences of the disease. So what happens when there is a twisting and torsion or volvulus formation? So usually these two terms, torsion and volvulus, they are used interchangeably, but there is a little bit difference. Like in volvulus formation, what happens that say this is the long small intestine, and if it is twisted in the form of loop like this, so this sort of rotation or so this is called volvulus. But if the rotation is its long axis, that say there is a clockwise rotation or anti-clockwise rotation, so this condition is called torsion. So anyhow, both volvulus and torsion, they are causing the obstruction to the ingesta, to the bowel process, and ultimately they are causing a lot of problem in the abdominal cavity. So, what are the pathological consequences of the condition if the animal is suffering from intestinal volvulus or torsion? So, from this slide, you can see that the jejunum that is coiling in with each other, and this condition is resulting into volvulus formation. So, what happens when there is such type of condition which may takes place inside the abdominal cavity? That some piece or some part of the jejunum or small intestine that is coiled with each other, and that is had made twisted or torsion or volvulus formation has developed. So there are a lot of consequences or pathophysiological events that takes place that happen to come out, and ultimately they can take the life of the patient. So what are those events? So like if there is a there is a coiling, or there is a the volvulus formation. So the point of at the point of twist where the torsion that has been takes place, so the main consequences will be the obstruction in two case sense, like the obstruction in the circulation and obstruction in the bowel movement. So say here the mesenteric artery that is lying here, the mesenteric artery is lying. When there is a torsion formation, so this torsion that will also cause the torsion or twisting of the circulatory vessels like cranial mesenteric artery. So when the artery that is twisted, so ultimately we cannot expect the further circulation of the blood into the distal areas, into the distal tissues. say if this torsion is being take place at the level of the duodenum and the cranial mesenteric artery that is also twisted, so what happens that the lower part of the intestine, like the the colon, the proximal colon, the transverse colon, and the so the downwards areas of the abdominal cavity. Uh, so these all they are usually supplied with the circulation of these mesenteric arteries. So all these areas they will get deficient of the blood circulation, and you can expect the ischemia, blood ischemia. So similarly, if the torsion is taking place at any point, similarly it can cause the coiling and torsion and twisting of the venous flow. So we cannot expect the return of the blood from the lower part into the into the heart. So the venous flow, so both the arterial and the venous pathway they are hampered, and this chronic hampering it may lead to thrombosis of the blood vessels, and it can cause the permanent occlusion of the circulation, and it will result into ischemia, and that ischemia can further result into ischemic necrosis. So these are the different pathological consequences, like the first consequences which is very much detrimental, that is the impairment in the venous flow, that is occlusion of the blood vessels will result into blockage of the arterial support. So as a result of the blockage, so you will see that the blood vessels they can get congestion, and the the liquid part of the blood it will try to ooze out, and it will result into edematous swelling of the intestine or wall of the intestine. And due to ischemia, you can expect the necrosis of the affected area, and this necrosis can further start this very critical event, that is the proliferation or growth of the local intestinal microflora. So you can expect the quick response or quick production or development or growth of the bacterial microflora, because the tissues they have become necrosed, it has started the fermentation process, and it can result into high number of the macroflora, and that macroflora, now this is not a good macroflora, but this is pathological macroflora. It can further release the different toxins, and these toxins may be, if there is a E. coli, these toxins may be the endotoxins, the exotoxins. So these toxins they are produced inside the small intestine or into the affected part of the intestine, but because of the increase in the size of the barriers, so these toxins can pass out from the wall of the intestine, and they can get access into the circulation, resulting into toxemia. So if we expect that there was a death of the patient which was suffering from volvulus, so the death may be because of all these events. So because of the obstruction to the circulation, obstruction to the process of the ingesta. Similarly, because of the toxins formation, because of the toxemia, and that toxemia can cause hypovolumic shock, can cause septic shock, and these shocks can result into the death of the patient. So these are the pathological events which can take place if the patient that is suffering from volvulus formation or tarsier formation of the intestine. So this is the definition of the intestinal volvulus. This is the twisting of the intestine that causes the obstruction. Intestinal torsion is the twisting of the intestine about the root of the mesentery. So both these terms they are used interchangeably because the mesentery is involved. So sometimes this condition is also called as mesenteric volvulus or mesenteric torsion when the mesentery that is involved. So usually the direction is that when the twisting occur, it always occur towards the mesenteric axis or towards the root of the mesentery. So these are the consequences we have developed, and the patient that will become vascular compromise, it will result the tissue ischemia because of the loss of the blood circulation, and ultimately because of the twisting and torsion of the intestine. So you cannot expect the flow of the intestine, and it will lead to luminal obstruction. So the rotation of the intestine, that may be also clockwise or anti-clockwise, and that rotation may be up to 360 degree. And you know that twisting of the mesenteric, cranial mesenteric artery, it will cause the blood compromising of duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecum. So all the uh, the distal part of the intestine, where that cranial mesenteric artery, that was the source of the blood circulation. So that those all the parts of the intestine, those all parts would be affected. So there is a reduction in the venous return as well. There is a reduction in the arterial as well. It will result into thrombus formation. It will result into edema. We have already discussed congestion formation, and the motility of the intestine, that is also disrupted, and it will cause the proliferation of the bacterial growth, and ultimately this growth will produce the endotoxins and the exotoxins, and these toxins, they are escape into the abdominal cavity and ultimately from the mucosal barrier, and they can get access to the systemic circulation and can lead to toxemia. And so the death of the patient may takes place because of the strangulation due to obstruction, and because of the hypovolemic shock, because of the sepsis, and because of the necrosis of the tissues they are involved. So these are the pathophysiological events which can take place, and if they are not properly tackled at right time, and if they are not being able to be reversed back, so ultimately they can lead to death of the patient. So this slide show the clinical presentation of the patient. The patient, usually male patient, they are more affected and having medium to large size. And the breed that is most commonly affected, that is the German Shepherd breed, English Pointer, and young adult dogs between the age of 2 to 4 years. They are more commonly affected. So upon history, you will be taken that the patient mostly having vigorous activity, or if they are suffering from certain intestinal diseases or chronic intestinal diseases like the parasitism, parvoviral infection, enteritis, or recent history of the surgery, like in the cases of the GTV, interception. So these are the conditions which can be correlated with the intestinal torsion or volvulus. So the clinical, obvious clinical sign, they are associated, or usually the sign which are mostly commonly present in all the issues of the abdominal cavity. Like you can see, the patient may be suffering from acute pain, shock-like conditions. The condition of the patient would be more dejected. There will be high capillary refill time. The abdomen could be distended, and there would be the sign of nausea, vomiting, retching, uh, hematochezia, depression, weakness, and recumbency of these, all these signs, they can be present. So upon physical examination, you will see the patient, usually they are suffering from shock, they are lethargic, they are not coordinated, and on radiography, you will see the uh, small intestine or affected intestine, they will be more dilated and they will be highly filled with the gases. So this condition can be treated by two ways. First, we have to offer the medical treatment. Medical treatment means that we have to give a sportive therapy to make the patient to become more stable. And for this purpose, you know that patient, usually they are suffering from these problems. They are in a shock-like condition. So acute fluid therapy, that is the need of the hour that we should be offered. And for this, shock therapy is recommended at the dose rate of 90 ml per kg per hour. And similarly, for those cases which are very much icteric and in which there is a need of the blood transfusion, so the blood transfusion that can also be given. And similarly, for those patients in which the vascular compartment that is highly deficient of the circulation, so both the ionic and the the uh, uh, both the types of the fluids they are offered, like the hypertonic solution, beta starch. So both types of the solutions they can be offered. So the best method to reverse the condition is the surgical treatment. So for this sort of problem, we have to open the abdominal cavity, and for this exploratory surgery is performed. And we have to open the abdominal cavity, the area which is suffering from volvulus or torsion, that is explored, that is approached, and this torsion and volvulus formation that is removed. Similarly, if the depending upon the condition, if the area that is more necrosed, so the affected part of the intestine, if it is necrosed, that should be removed, and the remaining normal part of the intestine, it should be anastomosed with each other. So this is called intestinal resection and anastomosis, and you will also perform this practical in your practical class. So this is about this today's lecture about the intestinal volvulus and torsion. Any question regarding to this discussion?